Good morning and welcome to Coffee and, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee and panel.
Good morning to you. It is Coffee and time here on WOON AM and FM. Nice to have you along with us on this Thursday morning. It is May the 8th. In the year 2025. At the coffee and table, let's say good morning to Attorney Bob Lauder. Hi, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Glad that you're here. And Sue Tester McKenzie from the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times is here. Hi, Sue.
Good morning.
Nice to have Sue here as well. And nice to have you listening as well. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240. But
Before you get to the
Yes.
comments and questions, you have a mug next to you on the table.
Yes, my favorite one.
It has a picture on it.
Yes.
Want to describe that for the audience?
Well, it's Donald Trump.
And what does it say on it?
This was a present for me on Father's Day last year, I believe.
Uh-huh.
So it just says, it's Trump talking now. Okay?
Right, I realize.
Okay. You're a really, really great dad, very special, very handsome. Other dads, they're losers, total disasters. Everyone agrees, believe me. So there you go. So if Trump says it, it must be right.
It must be true.
It must be absolutely true, because he doesn't lie, does he? He doesn't stretch the truth at all, does he?
No.
So, he's like George Washington. No comment from the lawyer over there.
Not a word.
Not a word from the lawyer. All right, before we get into all things here on the Coffee and program, Sue, time for your first message from the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times, please. Since you're just sitting right there.
I know. I was like, okay, I was going to announce the winners of the Mother's Day contest, but that would require me to look it
to
up.
find them.
So maybe for the next commercial.
Okay.
They were just chosen late yesterday. But anyway, excuse me. So as I've been explaining, the office has been closed, but we're still working. One of the co-workers has medical concerns that she's addressing, but still working from home. So if you need anything with regard to obituaries, legals, memoriams, you can call Chris at 767-8503. If you need anything with regard to advertising sales or you're missing a circulation and I can point you in the right direction, give me a call on my cell, 487-4136, area code 401.
All right, Sue, thank you very much. All right, things are going on. Were you happy to hear that the TF Green Airport decided not to privatize the TSA? They were thinking of throwing the TSA out and bringing in a private security firm.
I didn't realize there were private security firms that could supplement TSA. I thought TSA was national and that was it.
Apparently, these are TSA-sanctioned security firms.
All right.
So if we're coming out, here are the ones that we, TSA, we recommend you do because they know what we do.
All right.
And so let's go with these people. But
would it have been less expensive, or would it have been more efficient, or why did they even think about that?
They were looking for more efficiency. They thought the higher ups at TF Green were thinking that the wait lines were getting too long as you try to get through all the mechanisms there. And they said if we privatize, things will speed up. I don't know how they know this. I don't know why they think this, but that's what they thought. And after a while, they looked at it again and said, "No, the wait times they're about where we want them to be. So everything just stays the way it is."
I don't fly that often, but I never thought that the TSA lines were that onerous. The ones that I thought were onerous were when you come back and you have to go through customs.
Yeah.
They have like 2 people for loads and loads of planes coming in, and that's much more time consuming.
Do you fly a lot, Sue?
No.
No, okay. Neither do I. But the worst I've ever seen it is Orlando International Airport. They've got lines. I mean, down the hall before you even get to the ropes going back and forth. It's just, yikes. You really, and when they say get to the airport 2 hours before your flight, in Orlando, you really need to.
Wow.
Or you might miss it.
Oh, geez.
Just waiting to get through. Although it's a beautiful airport and it's nice and airy and there's palm trees to look at, that's nice. But yeah, the lines can be incredibly long. So, TF Green, I've never had an issue. Even Logan, I've never had an issue with long waits.
Right.
At getting through TSA. So Maybe, but when I fly, I tend to go out extremely early. And
What?
We're talking like
That makes a difference.
Like 6 o'clock flights.
Yeah,
So
that
get
makes a
get there at
difference.
4 in the morning.
When I was
4
doing the
in the morning,
limos, that's the difference. Is the early flights, those
Yeah.
that come in the middle of the day. Who wants to come in the middle of the day into Boston anyway? I don't care who's driving. Who wants that? But it becomes also the hub.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, Orlando. There are others in that same realm. Chicago, in the same, because they're a big hub.
Yeah.
Lots of terminals.
Right.
It's a problem.
And if you're flying, especially if you're flying solo, like I normally do, you want that early morning flight. You know why? No children are on the flight.
Oh, okay.
Usually, the families going like to Disney.
Does it-
They're gonna take a 10 o'clock flight. They got to get the kids up and get ready and like that, and so they're gonna take a later flight. So if you take the earlier flight, the odds of there being no children on the plane go way up. So just something to keep in mind.
I'll try and remember this if I ever get to travel. Yeah.
All right. So other things going on. That man out in Barville, that police say he was going 104 miles per hour. Remember that crash happened back in April?
Yep.
Hit the tree, rolled over, hit the storage unit on someone's yard. Yeah. He pleaded not guilty in the connection with the high-speed rollover crash
What
that sent him to
road
the
was he
hospital.
allegedly driving on?
Oh, he was on Wallem Lake Road.
Is that I'm not familiar with Wallem Lake Road. Is that a wide road that is 104 miles an hour is pretty fast?
Sure is.
If
I'm
it's
sure
a country
I'm
road,
sure,
I can't imagine how
I'm
he
sure-
managed to do it.
I'm sure Dave has
Well,
been on
he
it.
didn't do it. That was the problem.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
EMS had to use the jaws of life to get him out of the vehicle so he could go to Rhode Island Hospital. He was released on $1,000 personal recognizance. He's scheduled to attend a pre-trial conference on May 27th. So is arraignment he pleads not guilty.
Correct.
All right. What's the pre-trial conference?
Pre-trial conference is when the attorney for the defendant and the prosecutor are going to sit down and say, okay, is this a possibility we can work out a deal that's going to be satisfactory to both the state and to the defendant? And if they can work out something that says, okay, loss of license for 6 months or something like that, and he pays X number of dollars in a fine, or something along those lines, if it's agreeable to both sides, then it's going to be memorialized by going before the judge and saying, this is what we'd like to propose, this is what the defendant has agreed to, and see if the judge will accept it. If the judge accepts it, fine, that's the end of it, and it doesn't go to trial.
So basically, the two lawyers and probably the defendant meet not on the 27th. They can meet at any time, but they come to the pre-trial conference and say, okay, a deal's been struck.
They probably are going to be doing it at that time because
okay.
usually the prosecution doesn't have all the files and facts available to them if you call him up 3 or 4 days ahead of time. The prosecutor is going to have the files available on that day. So usually the conference takes place that day.
Dave tells us that Wallem Lake Road is barely 2 lanes wide. It's bumpy, and it's basically a paved cart path. So going 104 on this road is really not a good idea.
Wonder what kind of a car he had that could go 104 miles an hour under those conditions.
Oh, they never said what kind of car it was.
Okay.
They probably couldn't tell what kind of it was if we got to start
Yeah.
ripping apart with the jaws of life.
Right?
So, well, he pled not guilty, and so we'll see what happens if, maybe this is his first offense. I don't know.
Could be.
And they could be lost of license for like 6 months or a year.
My question would still be, why were you driving 104 miles? Were you angry? Were you upset? Were you... Because, not that it makes a difference, you're still driving that, but you maybe need to address that, because when you're driving that fast and you have a rollover, you have an accident, so on and so forth, sorry, just going to say, you end up with a brain injury of some sort, because now your brain is jarred in your skull.
What I don't have here, Sue, is his age.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to, my youth, and
That far back?
I'm going to go that far back. And
Wow.
when you're 20 years old,
You were riding a horse, though, weren't you?
no, I wasn't.
They had
He was
cars.
when you-
alone,
when you-
though. He
when-
was alone in the car?
He was
Correct?
alone.
Okay.
Yeah. But when you're that, if you're that young, you want to see how fast your car can go.
Yeah, but usually that's when somebody's in the car to show off too.
Not me.
You know, but usually that's
Yeah.
the case. That's pretty much. That's why I say he was alone. So maybe he was angry, upset. Something happened
maybe.
that. You know what I'm saying? He just.
But I tried doing something like this when I was younger, but I made sure I was on the highway. had
Yeah.
had a lot of room, and of course, the car I was driving was a used car. So when it hit about 80, the car is shaking like
Right.
mad.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, okay, I can't push this thing any farther. Something's gonna blow up. Something's gonna fall off. Something's gonna happen. So I was like, okay, take your foot off the accelerator, Joe, and we'll just slow down. Okay, it can do 80 if I really needed it to, but I really don't need it to. So that's how I knew. So
Plus,
there you
I'm
go.
afraid that my tires are going to fall off at that point.
I
right?
do. I am worried about that.
Yeah.
I got to help
Dave
you
Richards
guys
is
out.
here.
I got to help you guys out with this one. See, that's my old neighborhood growing up out
Is
there
it
in
okay? So
Oroville.
you know
Oh yeah.
Wallem Lake Road well.
Right. Now, there's a. I hate texting. I try to help you out a little bit of something with a text, but it doesn't always tell the story. So I figured I'd drop in. It's real simple. Wallem Lake Road is like night and day on one end and the other end. It starts in the village of Bridgeton. It connects the built-up portion of Boroville, Pascoag, Bridgeton, with Zambarano Hospital. And for the portion between one and the other, it's a nice road, which used to have a speed limit of 50 miles an hour on it. After Zambarano, it's a two-lane cart path that's just barely paved over
Okay.
because it doesn't get much traffic after that. But the state took they made it Route 100 up to Zambarano, and they paved it over very, very nicely. After that, it's a farm road with one humongous corner to the right coming up shortly after it narrows up. And that's the way I read the story back in April. That's where the accident happened because
On that
the
part
road,
of the road,
yeah,
okay.
it's narrow, it's bumpy, it's small, and now big right-hand corner.
Maybe he missed the corner.
Not a 90 degree. It's 90. It's 90 degrees, but it's like rounded.
Okay.
But at 104 miles an hour, it might as well have been a right-hand turn at an intersection.
104.
104?
104.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, I'm just trying to say, what I was trying to explain to you is that where the accident happened, it narrowed. How do you
Okay.
get up to 104 on that kind of a road? You do 104
Way
where
back.
the speed limit's 50.
Yeah.
And then the road changes and you don't.
You don't remember from the story from April what kind of car he was driving? Did they ever
It's
say?
a compact car as far as I remember.
Oh, okay.
Late model compact car.
Determining
And
the
and it was kind of funny when I read that he pleaded not guilty. Now, Bob won't laugh because Bob is rooted in this, and I understand. So maybe I shouldn't laugh. But my first instinct was to laugh when I heard that he pleaded not guilty, because after all, I mean, he was in. They were pursuing him. He did reach those speeds. They had the recorder in his car say that he reached those speeds, and it's not like, well, it wasn't my car and I wasn't in it. They had to use the jaws of life to get him out and get him to the hospital.
you always plead not guilty.
Yeah, I hear
It's
you.
a rule.
Yeah,
It's
I hear you on that.
it's preservation of your opportunity to defend yourself, and as you said in negotiations, plea bargaining, see if you can work out something that's satisfactory to both you and
Or
the state.
offer
Yeah. As
extenuating
opposed-
circumstances or unusual circumstances causing the behavior. Yes,
Right.
I understand that. But my first thing was, what do you mean you're not guilty? We pried you out of the car. The car squealed on you and told us how fast you were going.
Well, that's the law, right,
So,
Bob?
but Dave just said something that wasn't mentioned before. Was it a chase, or was he?
I thought
I
I
don't-
remembered a chase,
I don't.
but no,
remember
it
that.
didn't happen in front of a cop.
Yeah.
But there were witnesses to him going, zipping by. I think it was it was like the equivalent of the black box recorder. It was a late model car, so it had a computer in it and it had sensors in it for how fast it was going.
Right, but it wasn't a police chase.
No.
Well, and the only reason I say that is because you go up here at Darling Village,
Yeah.
and you make your turn, you go in, and you want to go up to Lowe's.
Right.
You see a bump, you slow down. So personally, if I'm in a road and the road starts, you're bumping, I'm slowing down. So that,
Especially when you
but
see
being in a chase
scrape
would make
marks
a
on the
difference.
Well,
bump.
right.
Yeah,
You see all the
it's like
scrape
you
marks
slow
on the
down.
bump from
You
undercarriages
right,
of vehicles?
You slow down. So I still
All
don't
right.
get why he did
But
that.
the road's in two different stages.
I
So
see.
that's how you get up that fast. And
There
I
you go,
just
Bob.
wanted to try to explain it to you.
I'm not
I'll-
happy with the fact my car's ratting me out.
Nah.
I
Yeah.
much prefer to be
No.
driving the 52
old-
Chevy that doesn't
Won't
tell
do
anything.
that. Okay.
Or drive the caddy. You still have the caddy? Do you
All right.
still have the caddy?
Oh yeah, it's still in the garage.
Well, then you don't have to worry about that sucker talking about you. When
That's
you're not
true. I
around.
just have to find a parking space that's large enough for the thing.
Well, that's true. That's true. All right, but
Thanks, Dave.
but boy, I tell you, you could leave the road with that thing, and other things get banged up instead of the car.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
I hope not
That's
happen.
one big hunkin' piece of metal you got there.
All right, break time here. Thanks, Dave. Break time on Coffee and so Sue, time for a second message from the Blackstone Valley Call Times. Did you find your winners?
Yes, I did. Well, I knew they were in there. I just, I didn't want to be searching while I was.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I do not have these prizes yet.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the first thing I want to say. However, the number one winner, first place I should say, is a Donna Fantoni, which won
Wow.
the Foxwoods
Good for her.
gift, which is an overnight, etc. That gift is only good through the end of June. So I had to point that out. Then we have a Carol Conley, which has requested New England steak and seafood, so I will be picking that up. And then we also have Shirley Ward, which is Ricard Jewelers, and I will be picking that one up hopefully today as well. So those are the winners for the Mother's Day contest. But we have a Father's Day contest coming up soon.
All right. Thanks, Sue. And more of the Coffee and program coming your way here on ON Radio. Comments and questions, call them in at 766-1240.
Entertainment this weekend at Chan's 267 Main Street, Woonsocket. Yes, it's Dan Moretti and Brasilia with special guest Christine Fawson. 25 in advance, 30 at the door. New live album celebrating Wayne Shorter is topping the charts with legendary saxophonist Dan Moretti and acclaimed Latin jazz ensemble Brasilia with Oscar Stagnaro, Maxim Lubarsky, Steve Langone, and Ernesto Diaz. That's Friday night at 8 o'clock. Saturday night at 8. It's J.W. Jones with one of Canada's top blues guitarists, of course, voted best guitarist in the 2020 International Blues Challenge in Memphis, Tennessee. J.W. is one of the young guns in the blues guitar world who consistently delivers the goods. 20 advance, 25 at the door at Chan's. And coming up next Friday night, the 16th, Studio 2, Beatles music. I'll be there. Hope you will be too. And oh, by the way, the food is great at Chan's, 267 Main Street in Woonsocket.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Father's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for dads and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with Remax Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
ON Radio. It's Coffee and right here on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Sue Tessier McKenzie and Bob Lauder. So just bizarre story happening here in Rhode Island, down in Warwick. A 33-year-old man from San Benito, Texas. No name, we just know where he's from. They're cruising along on 95 South. He's the passenger.
Mm-hmm.
Decides to get out of the car while the car is moving. And you're on 95. There's other cars around you. He gets hit by other cars because he decided to step out of the car. He was in, and he died.
I think that's more rollout. I don't think it's considered step out.
Well, you're right.
Sorry.
So we state police have not released the victim's name.
Wow.
And they're still in the process of talking to the driver. Why did this man leave your vehicle while it was still going? Now, it doesn't say how fast they were going.
Right.
Are we doing 55? Are we doing 65? What are you doing going down 95?
But
were you going slow enough where he thought he could survive getting out, or was there another issue going on?
I would imagine getting out of the vehicle meant that he was opening a door, and
Yes.
it's probably a sliding door along the side, because I would think that the air current coming toward the vehicle would make it very difficult to open
No,
either of the
It is.
front doors.
You can open a door. Well,
But Bob's right. He exited a van.
A van? Okay,
Okay.
that makes more
So
sense.
Maybe he's in the back of the van,
Right.
and hopped out that way. We don't know what's in the vehicle.
well, right,
Like,
because depending on the speed, like you say, Bob,
Yeah.
you're right. The wind velocity
push it back.
will
Right.
push back. But depending on the speed, because it can be done.
Okay.
doesn't say if there were other people other than the driver, other people in the car, in the van. But boy, this is a tough way to go, because he was hit by several vehicles, not just one. Imagine being behind the van and you're just la 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 la, and someone falls out right in front of you, and you get nowhere to go without causing major accident.
Right.
I think it'd be very traumatic for the people who had struck the guy too. That's
yeah.
not something you anticipate happening, and your reaction time is very short, and you feel guilty that you probably killed the guy, but at the same time, what alternative did you have?
I don't know, but that happened. This was at least 5 years ago, maybe even longer. It happened on 146, where a man committed suicide by basically jumping in front of an 18-wheeler.
Wow.
And talk about being traumatized. This 18-wheeler, the driver was from Georgia. I don't know, I forget the name of the business. But he was so whacked out, so beside himself of what he thinks he's done.
Right.
The company he was with, they had to fly 2 people up here. One to drive the truck back to Georgia, and the other one to take that guy, put him on an airplane, and fly him back. Because he was just so, what have I done?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's terribly traumatic. And so I'm looking forward to more information coming out. Where's the van? Is the van from Texas? Are the other people in there from Texas?
Right.
What else is in the van? Is it drugs? Is it guns? Is it alcohol? Maybe there's nothing. What coerced this man to open the door of a van and jump out?
I don't know.
Don't know yet. So this all happened yesterday. So wow, crazy. Well, how about this? Rhode
Happened
Island,
yesterday?
I believe so. Yeah.
I did not. see
Southbound
that.
on 95 in Warwick. Yesterday. Yep. So I don't know if you watch this, Bob. You probably don't watch this program. I don't watch this program. But Sue, do you like the shows, The Real Housewives of whatever?
Absolutely
New York,
not.
Georgia,
Absolutely
California.
not.
But we're going to be on. We're spotlighting us. The
right.
The Real Housewives of Rhode Island is coming.
Exactly. No, not even.
You're not auditioning?
Oh, what I see and I'm not saying that that's the case with this one, but with many of these, it's celebrities. They end up being just nasty.
Yes.
to each
Well,
other.
that's the point.
That I don't. No, because number one, I will stand my ground, but I'm not the person that's just going to be a nasty person. Like, do you know what I mean? If somebody comes at me,
Yeah.
be careful, be forewarned. But I'm not that kind of person that wants to be drama and all that nonsense. I ain't got time for that.
Well, that's what the producers want.
Exactly, because that's why people tune in, and
that's
I
right.
get that.
And they want to see
But
all
guess
that,
what?
all that garbage.
Not
Not
me.
you,
And no,
so.
I don't. Anybody that wants to add drama to their life, I don't understand.
All right.
I rather suspect it's probably going to be taken down in Barrington or Newport or some really elegant part of it. They're not going to be shooting a lot of it up here in Woonsocket, are they?
I don't know. All it says in the story that we got, they're going to focus on the world of a tight-knit circle of Rhode Islanders who have deep community roots and families that go back generations. Dan McKee, the governor, posted a message on social media saying, "We're excited to welcome Bravo," that's the network that runs the show, "the Real Housewives and their millions of viewers to Rhode Island to showcase our vibrant communities, amazing food, and stunning coastal beauty." Bravo has yet to reveal a premiere date for the Real Housewives of Rhode Island. So if we're gonna showcase the stunning coastal beauty, we're going to South County. Or we're going to Newport.
Well, unless
We're
you're
not-
a test
we're
tube
not
baby,
coming up
all
here.
of us
Block
have
Island,
families that
South
go back
County,
generations.
Newport, Westerly.
Yeah, that's
You
what,
know,
that's what
those
we're
are
looking at.
all.
That's what people
Yep.
outside Rhode Island. That's what they want to see.
But
Oh,
right.
look at the ocean. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because it's usually, celebrities, well-known people, wives of.
But I don't know if we have any celebs for this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But it's usually celebrities, wives of sports.
Yep.
They had the basketball.
Okay.
Baseball, all of those groups. So I have no idea the route they're taking with
I don't know.
regard to that.
All they got to do is they got to find one. What is it usually? 5 or 6 women?
Yeah.
Okay, you got to find one that is the alpha male.
Right.
The one that steers the pot of everything else that's going on. So you get the
Well,
arguments
that's
going
a
on.
tight knit. So.
A tight knit group of friends, I guess.
Yeah. I'm just curious because typically when you hear a tight knit community, you think more like PTA and fundraisers. But,
Yeah.
So I'm curious about that
I would
side
think,
of
though,
it.
that Joe and Dave would be really concerned because they're celebrities. And their wives might be saying, let's join in and see what.
I don't live in Rhode Island, so
Oh, rats!
I'm out of the running.
Oh, darn.
Claire.
Darn.
Yeah, that is too bad, huh? All right, they're going to lay off 100 positions at Johnson and Wales University, both here in Providence, and they have another campus in Charlotte, North Carolina, as well. The university said it's facing a $34 million budget deficit, and they're blaming the government on that. Like that. Serious financial challenges. So those affected by the 91 layoffs, almost 100. Nearly the 91 layoffs will be notified in the next few days. The cuts are both here in Providence and in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Are those going to be teaching positions, or
It
are they
doesn't say.
staffing,
That's
or-
the first I thought of. Okay, we're going with teaching. Are we going with administrative? Are we going with custodial? It doesn't say what
okay.
the positions will be. At least in the story that I got right here.
Does it say how many people are employed by Johnson and Wales?
No, just going
Wonder
with
what
how many people are being let go.
I was wondering what percentage of their total staff that it represented.
It's probably 1 or 2%.
Okay.
I think it'd be pretty low.
I
But
would-
I'm not positive on that one. So all right. You don't have a boat, do you, Bob?
No, I don't.
Do you have a boat, Sue?
No.
I guess not. I bring it up because there's a bill in the House in Rhode Island. They want to impose a new tax on boats in Rhode Island. Now, this will affect the people in Newport.
yeah?
They're going to be.
Okay.
You're going to hear the screaming coming from the south. You're going to be, what is that? All the people, not all of them, a lot of people in Newport. They want to impose a new tax on boats by removing the tax exemption on purchases. Providence Representative John Lombardi said it would be a revenue generator that targets luxury boat owners. Opponents argued it would hurt those who depend on boats for their livelihood and could also affect the tourism industry. The House Committee on Finance heard testimony last night and held the bill for further study. So, I guess it's I guess it's going to be a tax on people that the fishermen and their boats as well as the luxury yachts. Because that's the first thing I thought of.
Right.
The big nice yachts,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Not
So when you
not
buy
commercial
a
fishermen.
boat,
Yeah.
much less you go buy, a article of clothing's not taxed.
Yeah.
Certain things you buy, they are. Right now, if you go and buy a boat, you get taxed on it, do you not? Or is that with the exemption?
There's sales tax.
Right.
They want to remove the tax exemption on purchases. Maybe you don't pay tax on it when you buy a boat, which is odd. I thought you would. You have to do when you buy a car, truck,
Right.
motorcycle,
I have no
a
idea.
van. Or what's the difference with the boat? But
Did you see
anyway.
the article in the news, though, about the woman who was in a canoe in Florida? And she and her husband were in the canoe. They managed to hit a crocodile, and
What did the croc do?
Aider.
it bit her.
Did it? Wow.
Aider.
She was
Sorry.
killed. The canoe overturned.
Wow.
But I was thinking,
Yeah,
going
she
in a
was
canoe
attacked.
in a swamp with alligators,
And you
that's
have-
either
you have-
very, very brave
you
or
have-
very foolhardy.
You have to know that there are signs almost everywhere in Florida. Don't go in the water. There are alligators everywhere.
If there's water, there's alligators.
There's alligators.
Simple
Yeah,
as
you
that.
just keep it in your mind. All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program, and more coming your way. We're going to look at the forecast right now, which is being sponsored by Murphy Tractor.
A 40% chance of showers at midday and maybe a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Partly sunny skies overall with a high of 72 today. Tonight, we have northeast winds, just barely there. A 50% chance of a shower, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 48. A quarter of an inch of rain is possible overnight, higher in thunderstorms. Friday's weather. It's an 80% chance of showers. A quarter to a half an inch of rain is possible during the day on Friday, maybe thunderstorms too, high of 55. Friday night, more rain. Saturday, 30% chance of a shower, but basically it'll be a sunny day with a high near 63. Mother's Day still looks sunny in 72. Monday, sunshine in 74. Tuesday, partly sunny in 76. And next Wednesday, mostly cloudy skies, 74, a chance of a shower.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we've got mostly sunny skies and 63 degrees.
Give your home a fresh look with roofing, siding, and windows from Marshall. Their free design service helps you choose the perfect style. Call 800-866-1499 today. Marshall, your local roofing, siding, and window people.
Craving something delicious for dinner? Bailey Thai Cuisine is ready to serve you. Located in the Hartford Place Shopping Center in Johnston, they are open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. Try their signature sesame chicken, secret recipe crispy shrimp, crab rangoon, or their house specialty golden hug crispy egg noodles on a bed of mixed vegetables in your choice of meat toppings with their secret recipe sauce. For extraordinary, authentic Thai food and a dynamic dining experience for the whole family, visit Bailey Thai Cuisine, 1369 Hartford Avenue, Route 6 in Johnston. Bailey Thai Cuisine.
Are you looking for solutions to meet your business banking needs? At Milford Federal, the longest-standing community bank in the area, they offer customized solutions for commercial lending, cash management, online banking, and payment processing services. Their business banking team is committed to the growth and success of your business with local decision-making and a relationship-based approach. Let Milford Federal be your banking partner. Visit them at milfordfederal.com today. Milford Federal Bank, our community, your bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, and MLS number 465956.
Lou Mandeville here to tell you the only place to get your local high school and college scores, as well as the Pats, Bruins, Celtics, and Sox is on my morning sports reports. And they are right here on ON 1240, Monday through Friday on the Morning Fun Show.
It's Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Sue Tessier McKenzie and Bob Lauder. And Bob, time for a first message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Hi, Diana. I succumbed to laziness today. There's no
Hooray.
new commercials, just old ones from the past. Beware. Good morning. I'd like to start the announcement with a short story that my good friend Marilyn Peliquin sent to me. My buddy Jim was a single guy, living at home with his father and working in the family business. He knew that he would inherit a fortune once his sickly father had died. Jim wanted two things. One, to learn how to invest in his inheritance, and two, to find a wife to share his good fortune. One evening, at an investment seminar, he spotted the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Her natural beauty took his breath away. I may just look like an ordinary man, he said to her, but in just a few years my dad'll die and I'll inherit $20 million. Impressed, the woman obtained his business card. 2 weeks later, she became his stepmother. Well, I can't match that type of estate planning. I can assist you with the less exciting kind. And that's the kind which makes sure that your wishes and desires are respected and fulfilled after your death, with the least amount of conflict and controversy. If you think my office may be of assistance to you in this or other legal matters, please call me for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer, the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
This is a Greek tragedy, Bob. Did the son kill his father so he could marry his stepmother now?
This is a joke. It's a story. It's not reality.
I thought it was real. I thought it could be real. All right. Sue did a little searching on the tax bill for the boats, and apparently no sales tax on a purchase of a boat in Rhode Island.
No tax, no sales tax, property tax, or usage tax.
Okay, so they want to go after the luxury boat owners.
Well,
is
that's
what they
the
want.
main focus.
Yeah.
But again, you still have, you need to be concerned with the fishermen. It's like the gun laws people try to implement. You're then hurting the those that are licensed and so on and so forth. It's like anything else. But luxury people buying a luxury boat can come into the state of Rhode Island, buy a luxury boat, and then leave the next day and head to Florida. They don't even live here, so you don't even need to be a resident of the state. So I think...
So that's why they're coming up to Rhode Island to buy their boats.
Right. So I think they should definitely do something, but it needs to be fair.
Well, right. Okay, well, we'll see where the bill goes like that. Well, not only did the Boston Celtics lose to the New York Knicks last night, 91-90, at the Garden, about an hour after the game, there was a fire alarm at the TD Garden, and whoever was left over inside the building had to evacuate. Crazy, huh? No reports of any smoke or fire at the Garden after the alarm sounded. Everyone who remained in the arena after the game were forced to leave because of the alarm. The all clear was given a short time later.
Did they say whether the alarm was triggered by automation or somebody doing that?
Now, it sounds like someone doing it.
How long after?
About an hour after the game.
So
most of the
want to
fans
be gone.
Fans will have been gone. The players might still be around,
right?
Because they shower and change and like
that.
And then there's, the concession people, the higher ups might
cleaning
still
up,
be there.
Yep.
Front office staff at the Garden might still be there, kind of thing. But
the person's cleaning between the bleachers, they're still there.
Those people, they're still there.
They're still there now.
Possibly, but if there's no smoke and there's no fire, it sounds like someone tripped the alarm. But I don't have that.
Hey, I have fire alarms going off all the time when we're sleeping.
Or is that smoke alarms going off?
It's supposed to be smoke/fire, because you're supposed to get the smoke before the fire.
Well, that's right. Well, this says fire alarm, not smoke alarm, so I don't know.
I don't know.
Anything could trip off a smoke alarm.
Now, you're talking about them being in the playoffs.
Yes.
What's your predictions?
I already had my predictions already out the window. I said Celtics in 5.
All right.
It's a best of 7 series, and they're down 2-0. So now they have to win it in 6 or 7.
Okay. The two teams that they lost to, are they playing?
It's the same team, Bob.
Same team each time?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
now
the
the remainder of the 7, the 5 they still have to go. Is it still the same team or other teams that they face?
Well, you don't know sports, do you?
Okay.
It's a series of 7 games.
Right.
With the same teams playing each other.
Okay.
Whoever wins the best of 7, best of 7 is 4 wins, then they move on.
Who are they playing?
The New York Knicks.
All right.
Okay. Got it now?
And you didn't expect them to...
I was just going to say, Bob, stay with them. We already mentioned the New York Knicks.
I guess
what was your next question?
I was going to ask if this was the round or the elliptical ball, but
It's round. It's orange.
Okay, thank you.
You have to bounce it, okay,
Good.
and run up and down the court, okay? I'm sure you've heard of it. Yeah, it's not like a football.
I will tell you one other wacko story from my far distant past. Back when I was a student at URI, I was one of the photographers for the URI newspaper. One of my great jobs was going to the basketball games. I could sit at the end of the basketball court.
Under the basket.
A few feet back from the basket to get the photographs
That's good
of the
shots.
players coming in to do it.
Yeah.
It was great. I really enjoyed that.
Did you know not knowing sports, how did you know whose picture to take?
You just looked for the dramatic shot.
Okay.
You didn't look for, what was going on in the game.
Yeah, it's not like today you can hold your button down.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
And
Take
it'll
1,000
just,
pictures at
yeah.
once. Yeah.
No, this was back in the old days of black and whites and things like that.
Wow.
You had
had
to
to
crank
develop
it
them-
after every
Develop,
picture.
You did, and you developed them back in the lab, back at the the journal, the newspaper headquarters.
And would you go? Ah, it's blurry.
You had those things too.
Yeah.
But you had some dramatic ones, yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool.
So I do recognize the game.
Oh, okay. You understand it. Okay.
No, recognize.
I mean, you recognize it when you say basketball. All right, I know. I know.
love that.
One's not. It's not played on ice, and it's not. It's not the little white ball. Got it. Oh, okay. So, all right, Bob, and you get to go to the games for free.
Yes.
To do that.
That was
All right.
good.
That's so cool. All right. I think I might have told you this story. This is another good Idaho story. I had a friend out there that did the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go to the games for and take pictures.
Right.
And then the series I forgot who he was taking pictures for. It was someone for the college. I'm not sure if it was for the paper or for what. And the season comes to an end, and then Boise State was moving on to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, moving on to the playoffs, he wasn't needed to take pictures for whatever reason. I forget the reason why.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to do this. So, and for the entire basketball season, students got into the game back then for free.
Mm-hmm.
And you had this. We had our own section. This is where the students are, and we get in for free. Great. Now the playoffs came. Okay, now everyone's got to pay, but we had the special student discount. I think the tickets were $3 for the game.
Wow.
So I mean that was nothing. My friend taking the pictures refused to go because he went for free the entire season taking pictures, and now that he couldn't take pictures, he wasn't paying to go to the game. And so he didn't go, and he saw one of the most exciting games I have ever seen. I said, boy, did you miss it. All right. Okay, Bob.
Uh-oh.
Notes come in, 766-1240.
A sports question?
No. What does a homeowner do when the quarry continues to blast in Cumberland? They should have stopped in 2006. Caller has damage in her home. Who does she go after to rectify the situation?
Well, I don't
Wow,
know. I don't
okay.
know the situation regarding the quarry, but I would think that if she has damage to her house, she'd probably want to talk to an attorney, not me, because I don't do this kind of work.
Okay.
Who would be involved in bringing litigation against probably the owners of
blasters.
the quarry,
Yeah.
or the people who are operating the equipment that is resulting in the damage to her home. I think she's going to have to prove that the damage that she has to her home has been caused by the quarry, and it's not just normal wear and tear or deterioration over time or something like that. But I would suggest she talk to a lawyer who's engaged in civil litigation work.
All right, very good. Yeah, how do you prove that a blast caused this damage as opposed to just wear and tear?
Well, I suppose you'd have to have a structural engineer come in and say, okay, the kind of damage that you have a shifting of a wall several inches, and you have the element of, it shows like compression of air against the side of the wall that has caused it to shift or something along those lines. And then you try and relate that to the actual blasting and the air currents that come from the blast.
Good answer, Bob. Good answer, huh?
Right? Don't ask him sports, ask him legal. But I
Yeah,
can,
but legal's
I
good.
can
Legal's good.
Wait, you didn't
see
look up anything on the computer?
for that.
Yeah.
For,
Okay.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh no! I didn't look that one up
All right.
because I look at it this way: there are so many, so much damage that can be caused to a home, like a cracked wall. You know that I've seen. I've seen that on TV. Cracked wall. That was always a biggie in a lot of these places in Rhode Island that complained about damage due to blasting. And even right now in East Providence, it's the same thing. People were complaining about the blasting and the work at the Washington Bridge. But cracks in a wall were one of the big, like literally, you would just see a crack.
But also, if you live in an older home, because of the sagging of floors and the
Yep.
shrinking of wood, It's not unusual for plaster walls to have cracks in them that have nothing to do with outside blasting. So you're
Well-
going to have someone who's able to testify and say this is the kind of damage that is associated with the blasting, as opposed to just the house being old and the floors sort of sagging and the walls
Yeah,
cracked.
all of that,
Right.
you're absolutely right. But that's what I'm saying, that cracks in the wall are very obvious, and then they do have to get those engineers out to do that.
Right.
They absolutely have to. There's no doubt. You can't look at a crack and say that's because of.
All right, up the road in Worcester, Mass, one lucky family. Scratch ticket worth $1 million was sold at a gas station.
Wow.
In Worcester.
Great.
The winning gold 50 times or 50x instant ticket game was claimed by a family's living trust, which chose the lump sum payout, $650,000.
Wow.
Nice.
A little over half.
How much do the tickets cost?
Those probably cost $10.
Wow.
Maybe 20, but I'm not positive
Wow.
on that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not familiar with the high price.
Yep.
When they have the gazillion-dollar lotteries, then I spend the $2 to get one. But
Not anymore. You're going to spend $5 now.
Is that
$5
is
now?
that both Powerball and
I think
Mega
so.
Bucks or Mega
I
Millions
will
or
look
whatever?
that up.
I know one of them went to 5.
Oh. Okay. Well.
And you know, this is why gas stations and convenience stores sell lottery tickets. The gas station gets $10,000 just for selling the winning ticket.
Fantastic. Good.
Pretty sweet for them, huh?
Yes.
All right, that happens with
Now, if you
all of
had the
them.
$650,000, what's the first thing you would do with it, other than share it with us, of course?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I start writing checks for you, Bob.
He'd
like
bring
crazy.
donuts and
Yeah, but would he
First
sell them
thing-
to us or give them to us?
he'd probably sell them to us.
Well, I'd probably pay off the house. I guess that'd
Oh.
be you know, I'm gonna do the smart thing with it.
Oh, rats! Smart thing.
I'm not buying 7 cars or something like that.
Mega Millions. Let's see.
Sue's looking up
Yeah.
how much it costs for a lottery
It's
ticket.
up to $5 per play.
Okay, what about Powerball?
Well, when I asked which one, it's Mega Millions is what popped up.
Okay.
So it doesn't say anything about Powerball.
Okay.
Yes, the
Yep.
little-
Just Mega Millions.
Just Mega Man. Okay, maybe the other one's still at 2. Okay.
April 8th it went into effect.
All right.
that's
Well,
a lot of money.
For a ticket?
$5 a ticket? Yeah.
Well, I think the thinking about it was, less people are going to play because it costs more money. Therefore, the odds of you winning, if you do play, are better because there's less people playing. Plus, the jackpot's going to be higher. So
Okay.
it's going to be instead of 100 people at $2 a pot. Now I got to do math.
Forget the math. You just run into people walking in saying with $10 and saying, "Give me 5 tickets. Give me 5." Whatever
Yeah.
the terminology is, because I'm like Bob when it comes to the tickets. But now they're not going to say, "Give me 5 tickets." With that $10. Now they can only get 2 and something like so. Right there, you just eliminated 3. You know what I mean, for the odds, increasing of the odds.
If 100 people buy the $2 tickets, the jackpot's $200. But if 8 people, if you drop it down to 80 at $5, now the jackpot's 400. So
Okay, but-
your odds have gotten better and the jackpot's
No,
higher.
your odds haven't gotten any better at all because
Well, there's less people.
Yeah, but it's not based on how many people are playing. It's based on the numbers that come up in the drawing. So the number of numbers that come up are going to remain constant no matter how many people buy the tickets. Your chances of winning are not greater because there's fewer people playing. Your chances of winning remain the same. Your amount out of the jackpot may be more.
But if the 3 of us put our name in a hat to win a prize,
That's different.
It's 1 against 3. But now if I drop out and it's just the 2 of you, your odds of winning have just gone to 50-50.
But it's not because you're consuming it as being equal. But in the Powerball, they're using numbers that are coming up out at random.
Yeah.
So the numbers aren't going to. It doesn't have any impact on whether or not there's 2 people playing or 1,000 people playing. If the numbers come up X, Y, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no matter what. And if there's 6 people playing and it's the same number, then
I know, but Bob. All right, Sue, go ahead.
Okay. We're going to use the number thing that Bob's
Yeah.
talking about, whatever. So let's dumb it down a little bit. People are playing bingo.
Right.
Okay? The 3 of us have a bingo card. It's based on numbers.
Correct.
Okay? I'm playing bingo, but I have 5 cards.
Right.
So that makes you more
Likely.
to
win.
win because you have more cards. The other way, if you're in a bingo hall and everybody's playing with 1 card, but there's a snowstorm, so only 20 people go versus the 100, your odds have increased. It's still a numbers game,
But there's less people
but there's
playing.
less people playing, meaning the odds have increased. I get what you're saying, Bob. I do
I
fully
hate to
understand.
admit she's right.
You're damn straight I am. I love
All
to
right.
be right.
Damn.
All right, on that note, Bob.
But bingo was a good way to,
That's a good way to
bring
explain
it
it.
down, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Bob, guess what? Time for a second message from the law office, please. And don't go to Bob for lottery advice.
Not lottery advice or sports advice. Thank you. Good morning. It's Attorney Bob Lauder. Some of you may recall that several months ago I suggested that in order to make sure one's obituary included all of the things that you may want to be remembered for, and don't include the things that the writer may remember, such as being caught stealing candy from a store when you were 6 years old, it would be appropriate for you to prepare your own obituary. This morning, I'd like to discuss with you a more serious task, which you should begin now. And that's the preparation of a list of your relatives, including how they are related to you and their addresses. Basically a family tree with a means of contact for each person. Now, why is this important? Well, because in the event of your decedent estate ever having to be filed in probate court, whether or not you had a valid last will and testament, the laws of the state of Rhode Island will require that the individual filing the petition identify all of the people who would inherit in the absence of a will. Now, right now, you know your children and their issue, your grandchildren, and your brothers and sisters and their children. But there may come a time when that information is not known to the individual filing the petition. Now, this is especially likely if you have no living children and no living grandchildren and no living brothers and sisters. In the absence of a family tree, it may be necessary for the individual filing the petition to hire the services of a genealogical research company to locate the heirs at law. This can be lengthy and an expensive process, and the time and cost can be avoided if you prepare the family tree now. If you believe my office may be of assistance to you in legal matters, please call me for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. The disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice, nor in any kind of sports predictions.
Well, you can make a prediction, Bob. I mean, I made a prediction, and I'm already lost, but the way it goes. All right, more Coffee Hands coming up. Stick around.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder and Sue Tesha McKenzie. And I did find the story about the woman that was got killed by the alligator down in Florida, in Lake Wales, Florida. 61-year-old woman was a victim. According to the Fish and Wildlife people in Florida, says the woman and her husband were on a 14-foot canoe when the gator thrashed, throwing her into the water. Now, the story says she landed on top of the alligator and was bitten, with her husband trying to fight it off. He must have, if he landed on the alligator, the alligator must have threw her off to turn around and bite her. Officers later recovered the woman's body and removed 2 alligators from the lake, each measuring 10 to 11 feet in length. The Fish and Wildlife Commission notes the gator likely reacted defensively after being bumped by the canoe.
I'm surprised they would have used a canoe in waters that were infested with alligators. That seems a little bit foolhardy, but because a canoe is not a particularly steady boat.
No, it's not
right,
very
it's
stable
not
at all.
steady at
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
So,
That's why they don't put canoes in the ocean. That's why they
Well,
use
yeah.
kayaks in different waters.
but what it could be is maybe they've at 61, maybe they're not new at this. Maybe they've paddled there many times before and nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
And then this time something does. It always reminds me of the people that get trapped up on the in the mountains in New Hampshire and have to be rescued. I go, they've probably walked this trail 1,000 times and nothing ever happens. So, I know exactly what I'm doing. And something bad happens.
Do the people live? Are they residents?
Of Florida?
Yeah.
It does say that it's a Lake Wales, Florida woman. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a tourist, is what
So
it's
they're
saying.
Florida man. Okay.
Yes.
Florida woman, Florida man. Yeah.
Florida couple.
Same castigations. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, to put on the national political scene,
Oh, no.
Trump still wants to defund national public radio. Actually, in public TV, too. NPR is not happy that President Trump is stripping their funding. Senator Ted Cruz says it's the right move. The Texas Republican joked at a hearing this week that PBS used tax dollars to produce a documentary called Racist Trees. I didn't see it. The CEOs of NPR and PBS said they're looking into options to challenge the Trump administration, which could include a lawsuit. So we're looking at the end of, could be the end of Sesame Street as we know it.
Wow. I like Sesame.
Well, from my point of view,
Yeah. Gee, what point of view would that be, Bob?
the Trump administration is certainly increasing the amount of legal work out there, and that
Keeping those lawyers happy, aren't they? I don't know what you're doing here, Bob. You'd be down there in Virginia. That's pretty close to D.C.
actually I'm licensed to practice in Virginia.
I
but
know.
I'm not going
I
down
don't know.
there.
I don't know why you're not there. With everything going on, it's any port in a storm. Any lawyer that's not doing it. Don't focus on that. Well, start. All right. The Karen Reed trial keeps going on.
Yep.
Fun stuff.
I haven't followed. I've only followed it incidentally.
I didn't see what happened yesterday. They did have a woman on the stand. And she testified that she heard. Her name is Katie McLaughlin, I think, and she testified. Oh yeah, I heard Karen Reed say, "I hit her. I hit him 3 times. I hit him. I hit him. I hit him." However, an officer who was standing right next to her said, "I didn't hear that at all," and also testified. And if I had heard her say that, I would have arrested her right then. That's what they do.
Didn't they have physical damage to the vehicle?
Yes,
Yeah.
but they
Broken
don't.
taillights,
But they
I think?
don't know where it
Doesn't
happened.
match. It doesn't
Don't
match.
they
It doesn't
anywhere.
match. I
They
didn't hear
don't
that.
have the shreds of plastic on
Yeah,
the ground?
they found it in the snow.
All right.
Yeah, but they think it was planted, or someone came along and hit the taillight and then just threw the shards of glass there.
The damage to the vehicle doesn't match the injury to
The John O'Keefe.
deceased.
Yeah, she would have had to have backed into him
3 times.
3 times.
And
I
then
go,
let her dog out to bite him, from what I'm reading.
Yeah. So
Okay.
now the woman that testified that said she heard her say it, she's married to a guy, another cop, who owns the house. I think she owns the house. So the defense is trying to plan it as she's part of the cover up.
Yeah.
Of what's going on. So
Okay.
I mean, it's tough to follow if you're not following it every day.
No, I'm not.
You have
you're
to
like, you're
stay
like,
on top
You're
of
like,
it
what is
completely.
going on?
You can
So-
watch blurbs on the news, but
I know,
it's
but
not
it just
100%.
doesn't give you
It's not
enough
the same.
information. And although they did play the voicemails that Karen Reed left,
Yeah.
John's phone, and it's just they couldn't play too much on TV. There was a lot of beep 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 beep.
Yeah.
You're a beep loser, I hate you. It's like, wow. I said, okay. I guess that's just to prove the state of mind she was in.
Could be.
How
Yeah.
angry she was that night, as opposed to, I'm like, well, that doesn't prove she hit him with a car, but just proves that she was mad at him. All right, I get it. All right. We'll leave on that note, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, it's that time
It's
already.
that time already.
Wow.
All right. The show has come to an end. We thank you very much for listening in. As always, Bob Lauder, thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. Hope to be with you next week.
All right. And Sue Tesher McKenzie, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, and have a great rest of the week.
All right. I'm Joe Callahan. Talk to you again at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Stay tuned for Do You Remember is coming up right after the news here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. President Trump is announcing a